The prepping market consists mostly of cheap gimmicks, junk, and people telling you what new whiz bang item you need to purchase to be able to survive some upcoming tragedy. A step up from this are people who are willing to invest not in trinkets but in skills and knowledge. And you'll see people going and taking tactical firearms training classes and bushcraft and survival classes. Both of those things absolutely make sense and they are absolutely fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But what if I told you there's something that could potentially be even better, even more pertinent, even better to go take classes on, and almost nobody is doing it? This is Jason and Shelly, and together they represent Kentucky Sustainable Living. They invited me out to one of their classes. In this case, that meant processing a sheep. You see, homesteading and sustainability is one of three of the primary things that a well-rounded prepper should be training for and trying to learn. And the truth is, it should probably be the cornerstone of these three between tactical and self-defense training, survival and bushcraft, and homesteading and sustainability. But sadly, it's the one that gets the least attention. Stick around and I'll show you what it was like butchering up one of these sheep. So to start off, let me say that when it comes to larger game, I've only processed a few deer, and I would say that I am in no way an expert. I have processed more small game and fish, and I would actually say I'm not an expert at that either. So while I figured that my experiences processing deer would probably translate over to the lamb, and those they do transfer over, really transfers over to just about any larger animal, I wanted to know how to do it better, and I wanted to see some of the tips, tricks, and techniques that they would use. And this class was a real from the farm to the freezer class, and a lot of the footage from the class, due to YouTube policies, I probably can't necessarily show you. Now, one of the things that I want you to understand is not just the importance of learning these types of skills if you don't already know them, but you should also understand that taking classes like this and getting to know people like the people behind the Kentucky Sustainability will encourage you to continue to live this lifestyle and to become more quote unquote crunchy. So you have a group of people out here who are not only sharing information, but you also have a people who are going to potentially look for people to buy half of a pig, look for people to buy half of a cow, who you could help stock their freezer and in the process stock your freezer. And what's important here is if you go down this road and go down this lifestyle, it can involve you having a more healthy pantry and a more healthy freezer and a more healthy lifestyle, even if you don't ever need the prepping aspect. Not only are these classes affordable and accessible for people of any skill level, but also we have the Kentucky Sustainability Expo in Bowling Green, Kentucky every year. And if you go to that, you can see a lot of cool vendors. But they also run a lot of classes for free. A lot of permaculture, making sourdough, all kinds of really cool stuff. So getting to know this community is absolutely amazing. Now, as we're going through this class, I mentioned already that there were all skill levels of people present. Some of the people there said that they could not dispatch the sheep themselves and that they would have their husbands do that, and that was okay. They said that, but they were okay with processing the meat and with certain tasks, and everybody left this class learning something. It was absolutely inclusive, and nobody left this class feeling lost. Both Jason and Shelly were incredibly helpful. They showed you not only the cuts that you need to make, but even if you didn't remember the specific cuts that they pointed out, you did learn how to look at the different lines in the muscle and to separate things out on your own if you had to make do. So, although the class was not so much about knowing or remembering exactly where the sirloin steak cut was or how to make it pretty, after this class, you could get meat into your freezer to eat, and with time, that meat and those cuts would become more and more refined, quicker, and prettier. I think I think the real benefit here is that people who might not necessarily have grown up hunting or eating animals or processing any game could come to this class. They could get their hands on, and it could break the ice for them so that they could see themselves realistically doing it going forward. You've got people coming here who may not have any experience in this lifestyle but who are interested in it. And truth be told, if everybody was taking classes like this, if every single person in the city was coming out and learning how to butcher animals, I think that not only would we have a much better educated population, we might have people with a better idea of what meat really is, but we would have a population that was infinitely more prepared. And I think that's what we should be looking at. Going to a class where you might get some blood on you and you spend the evening cutting animals up and getting them ready for the freezer might not have the same entertainment value and bragging rights as taking a class and learning how to shoot really well. But even in the military, even in combat, you spend 99.9% of your time doing stupid, boring tasks, and the very small remainder you spend shooting. So, for whatever it is that you're preparing for, chances are you'd be spending a lot more time doing this than you would be doing the shooting. So I'm not telling you to move away from the shooting or to move away from the survival, but what I am telling you is that this is a neglected skill set that I would really like to see catch on and become more popular. And just like taking bushcraft survival or tactical classes, it is something that can potentially change your life. I want to thank Jason for inviting me out for this class. I really enjoyed myself. I learned a lot, and I want to continue down this path of education. I want to stress again that this is not a path that I'm going to travel down that excludes the things that I was previously interested in training for. I will continue to be interested in training for self-defense and offense, be it hand-to-hand or firearms or whatever else. I'm still interested, obviously, in the bushcraft and the survival, but this is something that I want to take classes in more. And I'm already running the mini homestead. I'm already looking at a couple of goats in a different light right now. This is something where I knew I was more weak in this area than in the other areas. But like all training classes that I've ever taken, taking the class made me realize how weak I am, and that's always the first step to growth. And so this is something that I know I need to do a lot more of. I'm going to put links to the Kentucky Sustainability YouTube channel and the Preppers Convention in the description box below. If you're anywhere around South Central Kentucky at all, I'd really recommend you coming out. Again, there's going to be a ton of classes that are offered there for free. I can't recommend going enough. I think that going to an event that has a lot of free classes is an amazing way to stretch your dollar and get as much education as you possibly can with as little investment as possible. But chances are you'll also meet a really good group of people, probably the kind of people that you're going to want to know, the type of people who you can work with in an emergency situation and who you can continue your education simply by being in their presence. These are high value individuals. So So check that out. Now, if you don't live anywhere in this region, I don't know what options you may have available to you. I do think that it could be worth it to come on out for some of these classes, but I'm sure there are groups like this, potentially in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere else. So I would just encourage you to seek this out. Again, there's really these three pillars of prepping. Really the self-defense, the survival and bushcraft, and the homesteading and sustainability. And like a stool with three legs, if one of those legs is too weak and breaks, the whole stool comes down. And what I'm sad to have learned is that too many people only focus on one of these legs entirely. I can't tell you how many people I know have taken a lot of shooting classes, or who are currently military and have a lot of shooting experience and combat experience, but can't start a fire to save their lives unless they've got a doggone blowtorch, and who would never be able to process any game. So I want to encourage you to invest in yourself, to invest in becoming a more well-rounded person, and to learn these things and to pass them on to your children, because the truth is, you may prep your whole life and never experience this catastrophe that could happen, but if you prep the right way, it will enrich your daily life, even if nothing bad ever does happen. But something might happen to your kids or in your kids' time, and if you pass this down to them, that could mean literally everything. And to me, that is even more important than having a lot of these skills myself. I want to make sure that I am setting my children up for success. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And again, in the description box below, you'll see how you can support my channel through Exodus Knife and Tool, my knife brand, through Beach and Tactical, my rifle sling brand, through Patreon and affiliate links and all of that stuff. But above all of that, we're going to have links to Kentucky Sustainable Living. So thanks again. Talk to you in the comment section below. Have a blessed day.